Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening,
Right,
ma'am.
okay. Good evening. Right. So today also curriculum, theory and practice. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. If it is curriculum theory and practice second session, um, uh, I will first share with you the lecture notes. No, I will share the uh, we'll discuss the today's session. Before I actually talk about the outline of the today's session, can you give me a recap of what we did on the first day of curriculum theory and practice? What did I do first day? We discuss definition of curriculum. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Then we discussed definition of curriculum, and then we looked at several definitions and identified keywords and phrases in defining curriculum. I told you developing your own definition about curriculum, you're capable of now, right? Because you know what is told about curriculum in the definitions. Then we looked at components of curriculum. It's just a kind of introduction to the components of curriculum. As what are the 4 components of curriculum?
Objectives, evaluation.
Apa කියනවා, yeah, before coming to the evaluation, ILOs are objectives.
ILOs,
Then
objective. So
content,
learning experience, content
learning
of
experience are
subject.
methodology, and then the evaluation. Very good. Okay. And then we looked at it because then we looked at approaches to curriculum designing. How many approaches to curriculum designing we discussed?
3.
3. What are the 3?
Yeah.
Can you remember?
Forward designing,
What are the
central
3?
designing, forward designing, central designing, and backward designing.
Backward designing. Okay, that is what we discuss. Then time permits. Because of that, we discuss another topic. What is that topic we discuss? Curriculum versus syllabus. Am I right?
Syllabus. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
we distinguish between the two. Though it is
Yeah.
interchangeably used, there is a distinction also. So we looked at it. Then we looked at another one. What is it?
Types of curriculum.
Types of curriculum. And in that types of curriculum, we discuss implicit curriculum, explicit curriculum, then null curriculum, and then
And recommended curriculum.
recommended curriculum. Yes. So today, my lesson would be, now you know the components of curriculum. ILOs are the objectives, content, then the learning experience or methodology, and then the evaluation. So we have to take each of the components and discuss it further. So normally I start with intended learning outcomes, ILOs. So we will further discuss ILOs. So once the ILOs are discussed, we can then go to content of a content as a component of the curriculum. So that is what we are going to discuss today. Um, let me share my lecture notes now. Is it clear what I'm going to discuss today?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, okay. Yeah. Y'all are having lectures almost every day, no?
Yes, madam.
Give me a second. Mm. Something went wrong. Okay. Okay. Sharing. It's very slow today. Mm. Right. Now you can see what I'm sharing with you. We'll discuss, this is session 2. We'll discuss the 4 components of curriculum. So the theoretical framework, aims, goals and objectives, learning activities, subject matter and evaluation, right? So I'm going to actually get you to once again look at the 4 components of the curriculum. Educational objectives, what will the learner be able to do at the end of instructions? Objectives means ILO's intended learning outcomes. ILO's or learning objectives means what will the students be able to do at the end of it. Okay, as a result of following this curriculum, what the students will be able to do at the end of it. Okay, then educational materials. Educational materials is actually not only learning resources, but the teaching methodology is also, that is very wrong. No? Educational materials means not, it is not the books and the manuals and the models only, but it is the content to be taught. It is the content to be taught, educational materials. Then you have educational methods. That is, what are the kind of teaching methods you are going to use? It is said in the curriculum, okay? Lectures, practicals, group discussions, self-study, field visits, etc. And then evaluation, how you are going to evaluate your students, whether it is formative evaluation, how much of, what is the percentage for formative, what is the percentage for summative and all that, okay? That is what the curriculum is all about. It actually contains all of these information for the teacher to interpret it, okay? Then I have actually taken as the first discussion out of the 4 components, content, not the ILOs, the content. We will start with content. Are you listening, dear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it is clear to you. It is not the ILOs that component that I'm starting with, as I said before, but I'm going to start with the content. Okay, one of the components of curriculum. So anonymous. There are dull teachers, dull textbooks, dull films, but no dull subjects, right? So the content is, it speaks volumes of the content, the importance of content, okay? Subjects are the content actually speaking. And the topics under each subject, okay? So there are some definitions I have given. Content comes in any form, audio, text, and video, and it informs, entertains, enlightens, or teaches people who consume it. Another one, content is defined as information to be learned in school. Another term for knowledge, a collection of facts, concepts, generalizations, principles, and theories. The content is actually the information to be learned or knowledge to be learned in school, right? And this knowledge is a collection of facts, concepts, generalizations, principles, and theories. So that is the content. Now, when it comes to the discussion of content as one of the 4 components of curriculum, we are going to look at content in 2 main aspects. One is selection and organization of curriculum content. The other one is, okay, I will show you. This is content organization. Okay, so we are going to discuss content under 2 areas. The 2 areas are selection of the content, organization of the content of the curriculum. It is a big component of the curriculum, the content that you actually have to teach the students. And this content in this actually kind of a world of knowledge, right? World of vast knowledge. So you have to decide what content to be taught, and how it should be presented, right? What is to be presented first, how much of it is to be presented first, like that. So in curriculum development, content is one of the 4 components of curriculum, and in curriculum development, selection of the content and the organization of the content in the curriculum is a big challenge. So how it is done, that is what we are going to discuss now. Hope it is clear what we are going to discuss.
Yes, madam.
Yes,
All
madam.
right. So now we look at selection of the curriculum, content of the curriculum, right? Curriculum design is decided about the shape of a curriculum plan. It involves
Madam, your voice is not clear.
Madam, we can't hear you properly.
the content in line with the goals and the objectives of curriculum. That is very important because the 4
Excuse me, madam.
components of curriculum
Excuse
actually
me, ma'am. We can't
as
hear
it
you
just initially
properly.
as the
Madam, excuse me, your voice is not clear to us.
කැඩි කැඩි ඇහෙන්නේ යාගේ ඉන්ටර්නෙට් මොනවා හරි ප්‍රශ්නේ.
Hello.
Yes, madam.
All right.
Yes,
I
madam.
was disconnected for a while now.
Yes,
We
Okay.
madam,
didn't
we
hear
couldn't
anything,
hear.
madam.
Yeah, I understand. I was
Very
disconnected for a while. Now it is okay, no?
Yes,
yes,
ma'am.
madam.
Yeah. Now actually we are discussing one of the four components of curriculum, that is content. And you can see, though there are four components, they are always connected with each other. So when you actually think of the selection of the content, okay, it is very important that you have to align them with the intended learning outcomes or objectives and the methodologies to be used. They should be matching. So the content that you select, it should help the teacher to realize the objectives of the lesson, objectives of the curriculum. So because of that, always these are integrated. So the content should be selected in line with the goals, objectives of the curriculum. That is very important. Okay. The selected content will have to be arranged in a form that will have teacher choosing and organizing appropriate learning experiences for the classroom. So according to the content, the methodologies should be prescribed which are matching and in line with the content to be taught. Right? So some subjects, you need different methodologies to be used. And for some content, it is a different methodology. So the methodology, ILOs or the objectives, even evaluation, they have to be actually considered uh, when you select the content. So in a world of vast knowledge, actually selecting the content is a very challenging task for the curriculum developers. Okay, so accordingly, according to the existing literature, uh, the selection of the subject matter or the content of the curriculum can be based on the following 7 criteria. Content selection for the curriculum can be based on the following criteria. If not, when you have to select the content for the curriculum, you need to consider these 7 criteria according to Ornstein and Hunkins in 1998. This is from a research paper. According to them, there are 7 criteria to be considered in the selection of content for the curriculum. What are those 7 criteria? Self-sufficiency, significance, validity, interest, utility, learnability, and feasibility. I repeat, in the selection of the content to be incorporated into the curriculum, there are 7 criteria to be considered. They are the self-sufficiency, significance, validity, interest, utility, learnability, and feasibility. We will take one by one. The first one is self-sufficiency. What is meant by self-sufficiency? To help learners attain maximum self-sufficiency in the most economical manner is the main guiding principle of subject matter or content selection. This means students should be given a chance to experiment, observe, do field study. That content has to be learned in very many ways and go to the depth of it. If it is possible, that is a very good content to be incorporated into the curriculum, right? So the self-sufficiency is in the selection of content is students should be given a chance to experiment, observe, do field study. This system allows them to learn independently. With the principle in mind, when the students return, they should present outputs from the activity. So self-sufficiency or self-discovery by the learner. The content you present, right? That actually the learner can explore it further. They can engage in self-learning. That is actually a very important element in the selection of the content for the curriculum. So it should maximize self-sufficiency, that is in the most economical manner. The subject matter is actually learned, and the learner is given the opportunity to learn through observation, experiment, field study, independently, etc. Then only that subject matter is a very good content, a very good part of the content. If this criteria is met, if this criteria is met. So the first one is self-sufficiency. That means it provides the learner the opportunity, the content to explore, experiment, do field studies, and to learn independently, right? If that is provided, that content is actually helpful in maximizing self-sufficiency. That is one of the main important criteria in the selection of the content for the curriculum. Second part is the significance. Now, you know, we have a vast knowledge. So when you select the content, it has to be obviously a very important content. Okay, very important content. Significance is important, no? So you have to actually select important content. So important content means it helps the development of the learner's cognitive, affective, psychomotor skills, all the three domains. Then only it becomes important, right? And they use then another one, another criteria or aspect of significant content is cultural aspects of the learner. If your students come from different cultural backgrounds and races, the subject matter must be culture sensitive. Culture sensitive. That also you have to think of. Now, culture sensitive subject matter, then it is important for them. Select content or subject matter that can achieve the overall aim of the curriculum. So significance means vast knowledge. So what to select? You have to think of the most important content to be taught, how it becomes most important. One criteria to think whether it is the most important because it caters to all the three domains, cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domain development. Then another one is the cultural sensitivity. And the third one is actually it helps the realization of the objectives of the curriculum. Then the subject matter can be considered significant. Okay. Then we go to validity. Validity is another criteria for the selection of the content. Validity refers to the authenticity of the subject matter or content you selected. Make sure that the topics are not obsolete. Do not include typewriting as a skill to be learned by college students. It should be about the computer or information technology. But our time, when I was actually studying for our A levels, after A levels, we had typing classes because we did not have any technology then. So typing, it was new, something new. I remember one of my uncles went to Germany and he brought me a small blue color typewriter manual. So it was magic, right? Just after my A levels, it was magic to me because we did not have anything. Now everyone knows typing, right? You don't have to incorporate typing into the curriculum of undergraduate anymore, right? Now I will give you another example. That is, of course, not in the curriculum. I was observing a lesson of a teacher. and she actually was a very good teacher. It was postgraduate diploma student. And when I went there, and she was doing a reading lesson, and it's about the 7 wonders of the world. And she started actually getting the students to read it with an introduction and all that. And she asked a few questions about the 7 wonders and all that. And then she did not know that there are new recommendations for the 7 wonders of the world. And she was using an old book. It was about the kind of, it is not updated version. So it was wrong. So one of the students actually highlighted the fact. Teacher, I have seen in a book that the 7 wonders of the world are not now those anymore. So then, even though the lesson was perfect, I couldn't give her an A, right? It is obsolete, not up to date. So when you actually think of the curriculum also, you have to think of up to date um, content, up to date subjects otherwise. Why? Now, for example, some subjects, they are actually no more useful. So instead that they are replaced by modern new trends. So you have to incorporate them into your curriculum. So validity is that the authenticity and the up-to-date content should be selected. Okay. And then we go to interest. Now, when you want to actually select the content, it is another criteria that you have to uh, consider. Why? Now, if what you select, it's not actually within the interest of the students will not actually take any interest in learning them. So when you select the content, you have to think whether they are interesting, whether the students will take interest in learning them. So how they take interest in learning them is a different story. Maybe it is their uh, thinking, whether it's their experience, whether it's their gender, whatever, we do not know. If it's a curriculum only for girls, right? Then if it is a curriculum only for boys, so then you might have to think, what are their interests, Kerala? But if it is not gender-based, normally the curriculums are not. But then you have to think, if they are teenagers, what are their interests? If they are young learners, what are their interests? And accordingly, that you have to select the content. It is another criteria for the content selection, interest. Then the utility. Utility like any usefulness. Okay? The content or the subject matter that you actually select, it has to be very useful for the students. If they view it as useless, they will not be ready to learn the content. They will not take interest in learning the content, right? They will not study. So because of that, make sure that the subject matter that you incorporate into the curriculum is high in utility value for the students. Now, for example, if it is an English language curriculum syllabus, so they are undergraduates. So it's business English. So they have it incorporates all grammar only. They will not like it because the grammar, there is no direct application of grammar in the real life. But if you teach them telephone conversations and how to do presentations and all that, they are very useful for them. So as utility value is high, they will take interest and study. Then learnability. It's another criteria. The subject matter or the content must be within the schema of the learners. That is actually, you don't have to make it very advanced. Okay. It is not actually catered to the level of the students. The learnability is not there, right? So because of that, when you select the content, you have to actually think of the level of the students, whether they are the primary or the secondary or senior secondary or junior secondary, and accordingly that you know that they are ready to learn, they can learn this content. So then you have to present it. So you have to think of learnability of the subject matter as well. Different factors affect it. It may be the age, it may be the difficult level, etc. But you have to think of the learnability. Okay. Then the last is the feasibility. Feasibility means full implementation of the subject matter. So you have to think of the real situation of the school. Students must learn within the allowable time and the use of resources available. Do not give them a topic that is impossible to finish. Do not give them subject. Have the labs in each and every school. Sometimes back, right, during this Rajapaksha regime, for English language, they introduced some activities, spoken English. Every Friday that you have to do spoken English. But the feasibility was very low. Why? You have large classes of 50 to 60 students. And all the classes are doing speaking. It was very noisy. And they wanted you to use ICT, but there is only one ICT lab in the whole school. So the feasibility is not there. Even though it is the best content, if it cannot be actually executed due to lack of resources or whatever, it's only lack of resources is only one reason. If it is not feasible to learn and teach, then it is in vain. For example, do not offer English for business communication if there's no teacher to handle it. Okay? Something like that. So that happened to that program. They had to stop that. Teachers were trained in India, and then some teachers were trained in India, and they came back and trained all the English language teachers, but it couldn't be implemented because of the large classes and syllabus covering, no physical resources, etc. So the feasibility of uh, teaching the content also should be another criteria in the selection of content. Is it okay? You understood what I discussed? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you give me the summary of it? Can you give me the summary of it? Is it possible?
Madam, excuse me.
Yeah.
Uh, if I give you the summary of today lesson, we learn one of component of curriculum.
Okay.
I mean content. Under that,
Yeah.
we learn seven types of seven types of content types.
No, 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 no. You're good, right? But it is not 7 type of contents. Now, you're very good. You said that we started learning about one of the components of curriculum, that is content. So content is the subject matter. And this con- when when we want to discuss the content, we have to discuss 2 things about the content. What are the 2 things about the content? Session of the content. Am I right? Sevandi?
Yes, madam, right.
Yeah. Then we started talking about content selection. Then we discussed content selection. When you want to content selection, there are 7 criteria to be considered. That is what we discussed, right, Sevandi? Right.
Yes, madam.
So can you,
Actually, I forget that word. I mean,
I
criteria.
understand. It's okay, but it's good that you actually answered. I'm very happy that you responded. So what are the 7 criteria, Sevandi? Can you remember? In the selection of content?
Uh, Self-sufficiency,
Yeah.
significance, validity, interest, utility, learnability, and feasibility.
Feasibility. Very well done. Okay, you stated all the 7, right? Okay. Then we have another component, another part of this content selection. Another part of content. What is the other part of the content that we have to now discuss? Organization of content. It is not only selecting the content, but you have to organize the content throughout the curriculum. Now, if you take your degree program, right? What subjects to be taught in the first semester? What subjects to be taught in the second semester? What subjects to be taught in the third semester? How much of it in the first semester? How much of it in the second semester? Like that, you have to actually now organize the subject matter across the curriculum. So that is the second part of content we are going to discuss. Is it clear, everyone? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. For that, we call it principles of content organization. Principles of content organization, right? So once you select the subject matter referring to the 7 criteria, now you have finalized the subject matter. This is what we are going to teach. Then you have to actually organize the content that you actually selected across the curriculum, right? We call it principles of content organization, right? Now, after having decided on the content, the next step is organizing the content in a form that will facilitate learning. In this case, curriculum is what's to be taught, while instruction is how it is taught. The relationship between curriculum and instruction is a partnership. The content to be taught along with the learning experiences and achievement. Curriculum and instructions are 2 entities. Curriculum, the following principles have been proposed when deciding on content organization. So that is the important part. The following principles have been proposed when deciding on content organization. Then content එක organize කළා present කරන්න ඕනේ curriculum එකේදී. These are the principles. Scope, sequence, continuity, integration, articulation, and balance. Will I repeat? Scope, sequence, continuity, integration, articulation, and balance. Those 6 principles are there in content organization. So when you want to organize the content across the curriculum, you have to actually abide by these 6 principles: scope, sequence, continuity, integration, articulation, and balance. Okay? Then we'll take one by one. Scope. We'll take one by one. Scope. Scope refers to both the breadth and depth of content and includes all topics, learning experiences, and organizing threads found in the curriculum plan. Scope not only to cognitive learning, but also affective and sometimes argues spiritual learning. Sometimes the scope is a curriculum is narrow, consisting of just a simple listing of key topics and activities. The mathematics syllabus is overloaded and scientific literacy of second school students is low. When we talk about scope, We are concerned with such questions like how much science should student in primary school know? What is the level of mathematics required of students before they graduate from second level? When curriculum developers are engaged in deciding how much content should be included. අන්න ඒක තමයි scope කියලා කියන්නේ. How much content should be included, they are determining the scope of curriculum. According to Ornstein and Hankins, when deciding about the scope of curriculum, the following guidelines may be useful. The usefulness of the content selected, students' abilities, amount of cognitive, psychomotor, affective, spiritual outcomes. Right. I will now explain what scope is. In simple terms, scope is how much of the subject matter should be taught. How much of the subject matter. Now, for example, you all are undergraduates. Now, this is curriculum theory and development. So, as you all are undergraduate, most of you all are school teachers. You're not directly connected with curriculum development. Because of that, the content that we discuss is not very high because it's not the requirement here. This is the requirement is the teachers to interpret the curriculum. So according to this, how much of this curriculum development is to be incorporated is decided. So that is termed as scope. That is termed as scope. Okay. Now then we go to the second one, sequence. Sequence means which is to be first and which is to be next. Which is to be first and which is to be next. Right? Sequence is one after the other. Right? One after the other. Step by step. That is the idea. So you can actually sequence the subject matter in very many ways. What is first, what is second, what is afterwards, what part is thereafter again. There are very many ways of actually sequencing. One is simple to complex. One is simple to complex. That is very obvious, no? Simple subject matter is first presented and then go to the complex subject matter in the subject. Content is organized going from simple components to complex components, depicting interrelationships among components. That is very obvious. When you actually sequence the subject matter, that means what should be taught first, what should be taught afterwards, like that. You can use simple to complex method, right? Simple ones are first taught and then go to the complex ones. If not, you can go spiral. Spiral curriculum. What is meant by spiral curriculum is time to time, some subject matter is revisited. Time to time, some subject matter is revisited. What is meant by subject matter is revisited? Now, we all know English language. So in grade 6, you teach them simple present tense in the first term. And then again in the third term also, you have simple present tense. And again in grade 7 also, they have simple present tense. So as the content is revisited, we call it actually spiral curriculum in sequencing the subject matter, right? Sequencing means presenting subject matter step by step. Spiral is revisiting. So sometimes when sequencing the subject matter, some important areas are revisited. නැවත curriculum එකේ සඳහන් කරලා තියෙනවා. Then prerequisites. Prerequisites. Now, for example, you all are doing curriculum theory and practice. But for you to do curriculum theory and practice, maybe that you have to do some other module. Now, for example, we are doing educational psychology these days. For you to do guidance and counseling module, definitely educational psychology module is a prerequisite. So because of that, you will first give educational psychology, then only that you will get them to do guidance and counseling. So prerequisites are also another important way of actually sequencing the subject matter. Okay. And whole to path. Whole to path is content is better understood if an overview is first presented to show the connections between the parts. I will tell you one example. Now, no single book, English book does that. But if you can actually, now you want to teach tenses. Now, when you want to teach tenses, you can first show them the tense forms. The tense forms table, there are 12 tenses and all that. And then take one by one and teach. So curriculum should actually uh, sequence the subject matter like that. First the whole and then part by part that you have to present the subject matter. That is what I did also. I told you that there are 4 parts to the curriculum. Objectives, ILOs, content, like that. And then take one part and then finish it, then take another part and then finish it. So when curriculum sequence the subject matter, they have to think of presenting the whole first and then taking part by part and elaborating. Is it clear or it's not clear? I will go on talking. Hello.
Madam, it is clear.
Right. So that is sequence. That is principles of content organization. So we out of the 6, we have by now discussed 3. What are the 3 that we have discussed in principles of content organization? Scope.
Sequence.
Second one is sequence.
Sequence.
We have discussed only 2, no?
2.
Sequence. And then the third is, there are others also to the sequence. Okay, not only whole to part. Chronology. Chronology is the time, right? It does not actually apply to all the content subject matter. But in some subject matter, you can actually sequence the subject matter, the presentation of subject matter based on chronology. Now, for example, if you take, it's a history lesson, history subject matter, right? History syllabus. And you have Kings of Sri Lanka. Kings of Sri Lanka as a unit. How will you organize the subject matter? What will be the sequence? You will actually take the first king of Sri Lanka first, and the second king of Sri Lanka the second. So there's chronology. And if you take literature, you know literature has different ages. Victorian age, then romantic age, like that. So you will take the first age first. So that is chronology. It will not apply to all the subjects. But in some subjects like history, political science, that you can easily, even literature, you can easily apply this chronology as a way of actually sequencing the subject matter. Got it? Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, madam.
Yeah. Then we'll go to another way of sequencing subject matter. Vertical organization, and we have horizontal organization as the other one. What do they mean by vertical organization and horizontal organization in sequencing the subject matter in the curriculum, right? Vertical organization, it simply means, now vertical means from top to bottom, like, no? From bottom to top, like. That is vertical. So this simply means that content and skills are arranged so that they build on one another, that they align with the general sequence of cognitive development. They indicate what students have learned and what they will learn later. I will give you one simple example for you to actually easily understand this. Vertical organization is, now you have subject matter. You will teach it in grade 6 and then in grade 7 and then in grade 8, like that. Now, if it is tenses, use in English language, you will teach some tenses in grade 6 and then some tenses to be taught in grade 7. So vertically it's organized, okay? But horizontal organization means one subject matter is taught using different subjects at the same time. Using different subjects at the same time. I will give you an example. Now it is a grade 6 class. So horizontal, no? So at the same time, okay? Then you have the topic called water. So in English language, you have a reading passage on water. In environmental studies, you have another unit called water. And then in, are there any other subject that you can actually have water as a topic? So you will horizontally, you will present the subject matter in different subjects. In different subjects. That is horizontal organization. I repeat, sequencing subject matter in the curriculum, vertically organized and horizontally organized. When it is vertical, now if it is English language, if it is science, this is what is taught in grade 6 from that topic. And when you go to grade 7, from the same topic, this area is done. And from the same topic, this is done, what is done in grade 8. It is vertical organization in sequencing subject matter grade wise, right? Vertically that you organize it. But if it is horizontal organization in the curriculum, you know, curriculum has different subjects, right? Curriculum has different syllabuses. So you think of the subject matter, it is presented at the same time with different subjects. Like, you know, in maths also you teach that. In science also you teach the same topic. In English also you teach the same topic. Apitamo history of Sri Lanka. Nattang ruins of Anuradhapura, ruins of Sri Lanka. So in the history book also you have ruins of Sri Lanka, and in the English book also you have ruins of Sri Lanka. In the art book also you have ruins of Sri Lanka, right? So horizontally it is organized. The same subject matter is presented. Different aspects of the same subject matter is presented at the same time with different subjects. Is it clear to you, dear? I will explain it again if you have not understood it. I want you to respond.
Yes, ma'am, got it.
Got it. Very good. So now we are in content organization. There are 6 underlying principles of content organization. We have discussed 2 already. One is the scope. Second is the sequence. Okay. Under sequence, in sequencing the subject matter, we can use simple to complex method, spiral method, prerequisite method, whole to part method, chronology method, vertical organization, horizontal organization. In sequencing the subject matter, in organizing the subject matter. Okay. Then the third principle is integration. The third principle is integration. Integration is the bridging together the concepts, skills, and values, different subjects, areas to reinforce each other. That is very important, you know, integration of the subject matter. The same subject matter is taught in different syllabuses, because curriculum has several syllabuses, subjects. So it is very important that the content is integrated It is taught in different subjects. The same content is taught, different aspects of the same subject matter is taught in different subjects, right? Integration. So this is only uh, uh, three underlying principles that we discuss. Look at this, principles of content organization. The following principles have scope, sequence. I did not discuss continuity, integration, articulation, and balance. I did not discuss. Okay, they are more or less the same because of that only. So I will change this. It is scope, sequence, and integration that we discuss. Okay. With that, actually, our discussion on content, one of the components of the curriculum, is done. I will give you a recap before I move on to the second component, that is ILOs. Okay. Now the recap. You will help me with this, right? Now today in the first part of the lesson, what we discussed was the 4 components of curriculum. We actually discussed one of the components, that is content. To discuss content, we look at what content is, the definition, right? In the definition, it was said information to be learned in school, knowledge to be learned in school, a collection of facts, concepts, generalizations, principles, and theories. Then we looked at when it comes to content, we have to, when it comes to content of the curriculum, we have to talk about content selection and we have to talk about content organization. So then we looked at content selection. So we learned there are 7 criteria for the selection of the content for the module syllabus. And what are those 7 criteria? Self-sufficiency, significance, validity, interest, utility, learnability, and feasibility. Then we look at content organization. When it comes to content organization, right, we could see 3 underlying principles. They are scope, sequence, and integration. And then if you take the scope, scope means the topics, the experiences that we are going to actually incorporate it into the syllabus. How much of it? How much of it? How much of it in grade 6? How much of it in grade 7? How much of it in unit 1? How much of it in unit 4? Like that. Then the sequence. That is, sequence is the presentation one after the other. So what to present first, what to present afterwards can be actually decided using different methods like simple to complex method, spiral method, prerequisite method, whole to part method, chronology method, vertical organization method, and horizontal organization method. And then the third principle is the integration that actually discusses how important it is to integrate the subject matter in different syllabuses. Then they can look at different aspects of the subject matter according to the subject that they actually learn. Okay, now for example, if it is a grade 1 class, okay, there is this integration in the curriculum. For example, if you take numbers, numbers are taught in maths class. Numbers are taught in environmental studies also. And numbers are done in art or handwork also. And numbers are as a topic is used in English language also. You don't have formal English language teaching in the national curriculum, but you have ABO, activity-based oral English. There you're taught these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, the English counting, right? That is integration. So with that, we can finish our discussion on content as a component of the curriculum. Now we will go to ILOs, intended learning outcomes. Is it clear, dear, or it is not clear?
It's clear, ma'am.
Yeah, good, 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 good. Right, then we'll go to ILOs, okay? Thank you for responding. Right. Now the second component, okay? I'm opening my PowerPoint. That it's not opening. All right, it's opening. Now, I not only this, I want to actually open, right. Can you see what I'm sharing?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, right. Now, writing ILO specific learning objectives. I'm not going to actually teach you in depth what I'm actually discussing here, but you can look at this goals versus objectives. Goals versus objectives. Now, here, when it comes to education system, right? The curriculum is a very important document because it's the heart, it is the vehicle and all that we look at. So in the curriculum, ILOs or objectives are one component. So curriculum prescribes the ILOs, intended learning outcomes of the program. So at the end of the day, what the students will be able to do, right? And you know, these uh, ILOs in the curriculum, ILOs, intended learning outcomes of the curriculum, they are developed. They are developed uh, in a kind of hierarchical order. They are developed in a hierarchical order. So what is this hierarchical order? That is what we are going to look at, right? So for that, I'm going to open something. Give me a second. Sorry about it. I'm taking time, I know, but I couldn't find it, Nisa. Okay. Okay. The image is not available. Let's see. Give me a second. No. So I have to actually get a team. Mm. So now I'm going to actually show you uh, what it is all about. Okay. Now, when it comes to intended learning outcomes of a curriculum, right? I'm giving you an example from Sri Lankan context, right? First, we have national goals. First, we have national goals to be realized, right? Then I show you what are our national goals. Here, these are our national goals. There are 8 national goals for Sri Lanka. So, national goals, are you listening?
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, madam.
National goals are not to be realized only through education. All the ministries that we have in Sri Lanka, tourism, right? Sports, education, trade, whatever the ministry that we have, they all should contribute to the realization of national goals of Sri Lanka. So education also in a big way should contribute for the realization of national goals of Sri Lanka. So the curriculum ILOs, they are first aligned with the national goals of Sri Lanka, right? But the national goals are not only through education. Even sports ministry should actually realize national goals. Tourism, travel and trade ministry, they also are responsible for the realization of national goals. So first is the national goals. They are broader. So Sri Lanka has 8 national goals to be realized. So I don't want you to by heart them. But basically, if you look at those things, right? Nation building, Sri Lankan identity, right? Peace and harmony in the pluralistic society, because ours is a pluralistic society. It's a mixed culture, right? So we have to live in harmony. We have to live peacefully. That is one national goal. So education should contribute to realize this. Sport should contribute for the realization of this. travel and trade, or whatever the ministry that we have, they are responsible for the realization of national goals. Then the second one, right? Conserving the best elements of the nation's heritage while responding to the challenges of changing world. So, conservation of heritage while facing the challenges of the changing world, right? Education also should contribute, but not only education, okay? Creating and supporting environment imbued with norms of social justice and democracy, human rights, duties and obligations, child rights, social justice. That is another national goal. Then the fourth national goal is physical and mental well-being of the individual and sustainable lifestyle that should be promoted through education plus other ministries. Developing creativity, initiative, and critical thinking for the balanced personality of the individual. So, balanced personality, that is also another national goal. Then you know the number 6. Economic contribution to economic development of Sri Lanka. So, not only education, even other areas, disciplines, they need to realize this national goal through their discipline. That is, you should get individuals to contribute to the economic development of the country. Then the 7th one, preparing them for the to face the challenges of the future challenges. In the rapidly changing world, they have to face challenges unforeseen, and you have to actually develop their ability to cope with it. And then the last one, international community, that is global individual. They are equipped to secure a place in international community. So language teaching, all these things come under that maybe, right? But these national goals, 8 of them, they are not to be realized only through education, but education also should contribute for the realization of those 8 national goals. So based on the 8 national goals, we have educational goals or basic competencies. Based on the 8 national goals to be realized, education should contribute. So there are educational goals or basic competencies aligned with the national goals of the country. ඔගොල්ලෝ ඇමරිකාවට ගියත් ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ සිලබස් උත් ඒ වගේ. වෙන රටකට ගියත් ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ සිලබස් උත් ඒ වගේ. First the national goals. National goals, education should contribute for the realization of national goals. So you have aligned with the national goals, educational goals or basic competencies to be actually developed through education. I think there are 7 basic competencies in Sri Lanka or educational goals in Sri Lanka. How many?
7, madam.
7. You're correct. So you don't have to by heart. But as a teacher, if you lack this understanding, you're not doing your job properly. Because you're just actually parroting like what is in the textbook you're doing. You do not know what are the intended learning outcomes of them. So intended learning outcomes first start with national goals, then come to the basic competencies of educational goals. After the basic competencies or educational goals to be realized through all the subjects. They are common to all the subjects, even for mathematics, even for science, even for environmental study, arts, or whatever the subject it is. The basic competencies are the same. The 7 basic competencies are the same, that they are the educational goals. So all the subjects should contribute for the realization of the educational goals of the country. And once educational goals are further narrowed down to objectives. Objectives are subject-wise. English language has its own objectives. Mathematics has their own objectives. Science has its own objectives like that. So we'll now get back to basic competencies or educational goals, right? Educational goals. I think it's 8:50. We'll take a 3-minute break. Is it okay?
Madam.
Yeah, 3 minutes only. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here. But I need a break. I'm tired. My voice, my throat is aching. I go on talking to.
It's okay, madam. Sorry.
Yeah. No. It's no problem. Ah, okay, I'm back. Hello. I said 3 minutes. You may not be here then, no?
We are here, madam.
Hello. Ah,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Yeah, we are here.
Right. So thank you for responding. Okay. So now basic competencies are the educational goals of the country. Okay. So we have 7 educational goals aligned with the national goals, right? So national goals, sports ministry also should realize them. Tourism also should realize them. But at the same time, basic competencies, they are the educational goals. So education of the country should contribute to the realization of these 7 basic competencies or educational goals. They are to be realized through the teaching of all the subjects. So the educational goals or the basic competencies are common to all the subjects that we teach. Science or maths or English or Sinhala or art or whatever. Okay. So basically to get an understanding, first one is competencies in communication. Education should develop the basic competencies in communication. So it incorporates literacy, numeracy, graphics, and IT proficiency. Literacy, numeracy, graphics, and IT proficiency. Then competencies related to personality development. අතනත් තිබුණානේ individual's personality should be developed. So competencies related to personality development is another educational goal or basic competency. General skills such as creativity, divergent thinking, values such as integrity, tolerance, and respect, and emotional intelligence. Now you know what emotional intelligence is. EQ has a big place now in education, right? So these personality development is another educational goal or basic competency. Then you go to the third one. The third basic competency is competencies relating to the environment. Now, environment is not only biological, right? Environment is not only biological, the ecosystem, trees, forests, animals, plants, and all that. No, it's not only biological, social and physical as well. Social කියලා කියන්නේ මොනවද? Uh, uh, justice, social relationships, personal conduct, legal conventions, then rights, responsibilities, they are all social environment. එතකොට competence is related to social environment, to live a righteous life, okay, and all that. Then physical environment is uh, sensitivity, awareness, and skills linked to space, energy, fuel, matter, materials, all that. Okay. So, linked with human living, food, clothing, shelter, health, comfort, respiration, sleep, relaxation, rest, wastes, and excretion. So their competencies related to the environment of the individual. It is social, it is biological, it is physical. Okay. And then another educational goal or basic competencies related to preparation of the world of work. You have to prepare them for the world of work. In the national goals, they should contribute to the economic development. And align with the national goals, we have educational goal, prepare, they should contribute to the economy. Here, the educational goal in connection with that is preparation for the world of work. Now, to contribute to economic development, to discover their vocational and interest and aptitudes, to choose a job that suits their abilities, etc. Then competencies in relation to religion and ethics. Religion and ethics. Okay. Then competencies in play and use of leisure. Play and use of leisure. Competencies relating to learning to learn. That is one of the 4 pillars of education. Learn to do, learn to be, learn to live, learn to learn. Right? So this is very important. You have to develop their ability to engage in self-learning. Okay? In this fast moving world, education also changes a lot. So what you learn today is not adequate for tomorrow. So education should actually promote learning to learn, right? They develop their ability to self-learning. That is another educational goal. So they are the basic competencies or the educational goals. 7 of them in Sri Lankan context. They are in alignment with the national goals to be realized through all the areas. But here, educational goals or the basic competencies, you can see how they are aligned with the national goals. Is it clear to you or it's not clear to you? Is it clear? Hello? Am I not connected? Hello? Am I not connected? Are you all not listening? If not,
Ma'am, we are listening.
all right, okay. Please respond. Okay.
Ma'am, just a small thing. Sorry for disturb.
Yeah, it's okay.
We start to do the integrated learning objectives, no? So then we jump to the national goals. So is it related to each other or
Integrated learning objectives means
the as a second objective? So we started like a first subtopic as a content, then we start to do the integrated ILOs.
yeah. So the connection
This is
is
and
connection is curriculum. Curriculum, we are in curriculum කියන term එක. If you take the curriculum has 4 components. What are the 4 components? One is content, one is ILOs or objectives, what we are discussing now. The other one is learning experience or methodology. The other one is evaluation. So we took content and we finished it off. Am I right?
Yes.
And now we are in ILOs. So as a component of curriculum. Am I right?
Okay.
Yeah. So the discussion is that. So we look at the hierarchical order that the ILOs are actually placed. So the first, the national goals, and then the educational goals. We are looking at Sri Lankan curriculums, right? National curriculums. But if you look at some, am I not very clear? Is it echoing?
Madam, excuse me.
Yeah,
Madam, you said about that four components of the curriculum. What is the
yeah.
last one, madam?
Evaluation,
Okay, madam. Thank you.
right? Yeah. So now we are in ILO as a component of the curriculum. So ILOs are organized in a hierarchical order. So first the national goals and then the educational goals. To look at them, we look at Sri Lankan curriculum. So national curriculum of Sri Lanka. And then there are 8 national goals to be realized not only through education, through other disciplines as well. But when it comes to education, we have educational goals or basic competencies to be developed, but they are aligned with the realization, they are aligned with the national goals because we have to contribute to the realization of the national goals through education. That is also discussed. Then we come to objectives. Objectives are subject specific. It is further narrowed down, right? National goals, not from all the disciplines that you have to realize them. Then educational goals, by teaching all the subjects, you have to actually realize educational goals. Then for the realization of educational goals, you have further narrowed it down to objectives. Objectives are subject specific. Now, English language teaching has its own objectives. Mathematics teaching has its own objectives. Art teaching has its own objectives. So objectives are subject wise. What are the objectives of English language? This is English language I'm showing you. National curriculum, objectives of teaching English language. Can one of you read? There are 5 objectives for teaching English language in the national curriculum. Can one of you read the objectives?
Creating the need, yes, creating the need to learn English as a second language in a multilingual society. Second one, creating opportunities for the Sri Lankan child to achieve the competencies in a link language. Third one, creating facilities to learn a language that can be used to build ethnic harmony. Fourth one, enabling the students to learn an international language which could be made use of in their later life for employment purposes. Fifth one, empowering the learner to communicate confidently, fluently, and effectively in the English language.
Very good. Thank you for nicely reading. It's now, these are the English language teaching objectives of Sri Lanka. Now here, English language teaching objectives actually are in alignment with the educational objectives. Now you can say here, employment purposes. In the educational goals, preparing them for world of work. In the national goals, contributing to the economic development of the country. Can you see the alignment? Can you see the alignment? Yes or no? Now, if you take this third one, build ethnic harmony, build ethnic harmony. And in educational goals, right? Competencies in relation to religion and ethics. Okay. And then, and at the same time, social environment, where you have to work in harmony with others. And at the same time, educational goals, here the first one, national integrity, national unity, harmony and peace. So you can see they are aligned with the national goals and the educational goals, English language teaching objectives. But if you go to mathematics teaching, right? All the grades mathematics teaching has its own objectives, right? So they have to be, they are through the teaching of mathematics, you have to realize the objectives of mathematics teaching of the country, which are aligned with educational goals and so let me share this with you now. Right. Now, this is actually the national curriculum mathematics. Okay. So mathematics also, this is the teacher's guide I'm showing you. There you have national goals, right? National goals, same thing, 8 of them. National competencies, educational goals, same thing, competencies in communication, competencies related to personality, etc. And then, aims of learning mathematics, objectives. They are different from subject to subject. Okay. But they are aligned with the educational goals or basic competencies. Basic competencies are aligned with the national goals of the country. So aims of learning mathematics, the development of computational skills through the provision of mathematical concepts and principles, the development of the correct communication skills by enhancing competence of the proper use of oral, written, pictorial, graphical, and concrete algebraic methods like that. They have their own 5 objectives to be realized through mathematics teaching across the curriculums from grade 6, 7, 8, like that. It's the same. Is it okay?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. So then after subject-wise objectives, the teacher responsibility, right? Writing specific objectives. No. After that, you have competencies. I'm sorry. After that, you have competencies. Okay. That is also subject-wise. After that, you have competencies. That is also subject-wise. I show you. English language has 8 competencies. English language syllabus, competencies. 8 competencies. Each competency has competency levels. English language got to identify the sound system, and then you have the mechanics of writing like punctuation, capitalization. Then you have listening. Then you have vocabulary. Then you have reading. Then you have grammar. Then you have writing. Then you have speaking. 8 competencies. Each competency having competency levels as well. So that is also prescribed in the syllabus, right? If you take the mathematics also, they have competencies and competency levels, which are aligned with the objectives. Objectives are aligned with the basic competencies or educational goals. Basic competencies are aligned with the national goals. So if you are a maths teacher, you should know the competencies and competency levels. If you are a science teacher, you should know how many competencies and competency levels. If you're an English language teacher, 8 competencies, each competency having its levels. Okay. So what they are, you have to know. Then only that you are interpreting the curriculum properly. But I have met experienced teachers, 25 years of teaching. When we ask about what are the competencies, what are the competency levels that you are, they actually are dumbfounded. They don't know. that is very wrong because you have not interpreted the curriculum properly then. So if you don't do that, you do not know what you're doing in the class. If you're aware of all that, the competency and the competency level, and then aligned with the objectives of the subject teaching, and then aligned with the educational goals to be realized through teaching of all the subjects, and then aligned with the national goals, then only that you get the hint or the knack of or the understanding of what you are doing in the classroom, right? And then after the competency and the competency levels, teachers have to write specific objectives for each and every lesson. Am I right? You all know because you all are from colleges of education and all that. You have to write for each and every lesson. What do you have to write? Specific objectives of the lesson. Am I right? Don't you have to?
Yes, we have to do
Yeah.
it.
So when you write specific objectives, they are aligned with the competency level and the competency, right? Competency level and the competency. If it is writing, it is competency 7. So competency level may be describe people. So in the particular lesson that you say uses adjectives to describe physical features of people. That is your specific objective. Okay. So you can see the alignment. So you have to know what you're doing. If you have no understanding about the national goals, educational goals, objectives to be realized through your subject, and then the competencies and the competency levels, how on earth that you can write proper specific objectives relating to the 3 domains, cognitive, affective, and psychomotor? Once you do it properly, you can see how you are actually contributing to the realization of national goals and education through educational goals. So in interpreting the syllabus, in interpreting the curriculum that you get, definitely you have to study them, because that is why each and every teacher's guide has this information. It is not just because that they just want to waste paper only that it's put. No, the teacher can't interpret the curriculum if the teacher doesn't know the ILOs. That is why each and every teacher's guide has them, right? Okay, madam, can you please share the PowerPoint? I'm not using, I used the PowerPoint. No, I will share, dear. This is Kularatna. I will share. Don't worry. Before I wind up, right? I will share. So then these are from teachers' guides. These are from teachers' guides. So whatever the subject that you teach, that you have a curriculum. So that curriculum, you have to look at ILOs. You have to know what the national goals are. Now, actually speaking, you can't write proper specific objectives if you're not aware of them. So always, if you're a good professional teacher, you will not that you have to jot it down somewhere, but in your mind that you will see how it's to be aligned with the objectives of teaching the subject, uh, object basic competencies, that is educational goals, and then national goals. Is it okay? ළමයි කතා කරන්න මොකද මේ
Yes, madam.
මොකද ගොළු බිහිරි අනාථ ළමයි අනාථට මේ ගොළු බිහිරි අන්ත නේද?
Little bit
Good, good.
complicated, but need to listen it again, ma'am.
Yeah, definitely, yes. You have to know that. Most of the time, actually, we are ignorant about all these aspects. Because of that, we are half-baked cakes as teachers. Okay? එහෙම වෙන්න බෑ. You all are now actually doing your higher studies to become professionals in the field. So, that correct understanding should be there. I will just ask you, Gayani, are you out of the country, Gayani? Are you the
No,
one who
madam.
is out? No, no. Now, Gayani, what are the grades you are doing? What is your subject?
Madam, English,
Yeah.
grades 5, 8 and 11.
Yeah. Have you gone through this curriculum, ILOs and everything?
Yes, madam.
Very good. Then only that you can think of writing specific objectives for the lesson, right? So very good. Then I can ask Sevandi. What about you, Sevandi? Vijayanti, are you there?
Yes, madam, I'm here.
What's your subject? What are the grades? And what is your
Actually,
kind of
I'm working as a teacher assistant, madam.
in a international
Yes,
school?
supporting to
I understand. What's the
supporting to the
school?
teacher. Abu Dhabi, Cambridge High School in Abu Dhabi, out
You
of the
said
country.
that day.
Yes,
That was you, no?
yes,
Then
madam.
can you tell me, have you ever gone through these national goals of these, that is actually British curriculum or Cambridge, no?
Yes, madam.
Have you gone through them? Kind of objectives, competencies, and all that?
No, madam.
Yeah, so next time you can actually go through. Yeah?
Yes, yes, madam.
Yeah. Get to know because you're becoming a
Yes,
professional if you do like that. Okay.
yes,
Please do so. Then I can
yes, madam.
ask, I see Kularatna, Wanti. Wanti, are you there?
Yes, madam.
Subject.
Hello. Yes,
Yeah,
madam.
what's your grade? What's your subject?
I'm teaching for primary students, 3,
Uh,
4, and 5.
uh So you teach all the subjects.
Yeah, no, no, madam. I'm teaching English.
All right. So have you gone through your syllabus and
Yes,
ILOs,
madam. Yeah, yeah.
competencies, and all that? Very
Yes,
good.
madam.
Yeah. So are you in the habit of writing lesson plans with specific
Yes,
objectives?
madam. It's a must in our school, so we
What's the
have to
school?
write them.
What's the
Sinhala
school?
Buddhist College, Matale. Sinhala Buddhist College, Matale.
College Matale. Okay, it's a must. So
Yes,
always you
ma'am.
can align the specific objectives and see how you actually contribute to the realization of objectives of teaching English, that is subject specific, and then educational goals or basic competencies, that is from all the subjects teaching, and then national goals.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
then only that you can be happy that you are executing your curriculum properly, right? Teacher at the delivery point, you are only executing the curriculum prepared by experts. If you fail in doing that, the whole curriculum is a failure. Am I right?
Yes, madam. Sure.
That is it. That understanding that you should get. Okay, very good. Wanti is also clever. Then I actually am thinking we can actually go to methodologies also. Now, I will first share the PowerPoint with you because they also take time. No? Good evening, ma'am. I'm Shavti Vini. Now I completed my general degree in arts in EUSL and I don't get you, dear. I don't have,
Good evening, ma'am.
I
I'm
don't have any
Shakti
experience regarding teaching. But I had been working for second for months in national schools, ma'am. I don't know about the curriculum. I'm confusing regarding this. How can I get to know regarding this, ma'am? This is right. So you can listen to the recordings only 2 days now, and then you can access. Now, are you in a government school? No, you're not teaching anymore, no?
I'm not get any jobs until yet. I'm an undergraduate now.
Uh-uh.
I'm still a student. Now I'm looking for a job for
Right.
the
But
I'm
are you
waiting
a
for the
postgraduate
government.
student here?
No, Miss BD Tessel.
Aha. So that you will learn them. If now I showed you teach. Now, what is your subject? TESOL,
English,
no?
ma'am.
English, no? So
Ma'am.
you can easily go to NIE website, National Institute of Education, where all the teachers are produced by national curriculums are developed there, okay, for the schools. So go to National Institute of Education, NIE website, Maharagama. And then you have downloads. Go to downloads. You have textbooks, you have teachers' guides, you have syllabuses. You can start with grade 6 English. Look at this teacher's guide. Then look at the textbooks, right? And collect information with regard to what we are discussing in the
Okay,
class.
ma'am. Thank you.
Right, good.
Yes.
Yeah, that is
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Sharpvini,
you.
no? You're Sharpvini.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Shadwini.
Where are you from?
I'm from Batiklo.
Right, okay. Batikalo, right.
From
Batiklo.
in Eastern Province.
I know. Batiklo. My son-in-law worked for Batiklo for 4 years and now back in Kalutara, right?
Okay.
Mhm. Right. Let me share the PowerPoint first. This PC, desktop, curriculum theory, lecture notes. Right. I'm sending it to you. You can download. It's being sent. Okay, see whether you can download it. Still being sent. Yeah, it's sent. You can download, right? And I have another note on curriculum design approaches. Last time I gave it is small note, no? So this time I have actually another note on curriculum design approaches. You can download that as well. Can you download them?
Madam, did you share that? I can't see.
Still, we can't, madam.
Still we didn't get it, madam.
Find it.
We can't see the PPT,
Still
madam.
we didn't get it, madam.
It is sent only to
In
Shatwini. You
chat.
know why? Shatwini was texting me. I have to make it for everyone. No?
Yes, madam.
That is the thing because Shatmini has texted me. So I have actually meeting group chat. Okay, sorry about it. Now let's see. Right. Content.
You need to share to the group chat, madam.
I'm
Sorry.
sharing
Yeah.
it to the group chat now.
Yes, madam.
That was a mistake. Oversight, I didn't see.
It's
I
okay,
thought that
madam.
it's.
Sorry.
Right. I have another document to share from my computer. Another note on curriculum, content selection and organization, another note. Okay, I have shared with you. And then last time I did curriculum design approaches, the 3 approaches. For that also, I have a small Word document as a note. Have you received all the 3 now?
Yes, madam.
All right. So I will give you the summary of today's work because no time to actually start a new topic. So we have about another 7 minutes. So I will give you the summary. So today what I discussed was, we look at the components of curriculum. There are 4 components to the curriculum. ILO's content, learning experience or methodology and evaluation. So today we first discussed content as one of the components of curriculum. When it comes to content, uh, it is the knowledge or the information to be given to the students. That is content, okay? Maybe the theories, concepts, principles, generalizations and all that කියලා තිබුණා. ඊට පස්සේ we looked at content selection and content organization in the curriculum. In the curriculum that you can't put everything. Knowledge is vast. So we have to select the content. So when we select the content, it has to be in alignment with the other three components of the curriculum. The content should be useful in the realization of the ILOs, the methodologies to be used, that content is good, and the evaluation is also actually in alignment with the content. And then we look at content selection criteria, the 7 of them. And then we looked at content organization. Once the content is selected across the curriculum, that you have to organize the content. What is to be taught first, what is to be taught next, what is to be taught in grade 6, what is to be taught in grade 7, what is to be taught in first semester, what is to be taught in fourth semester, like that. So that is content organization. That is also a very challenging task for the curriculum developers. So for that, we look at 3 underlying principles: scope, sequence, and integration. When it comes to scope, how much of it to be selected, right? How much of this to be put? And then sequence, in organizing the content, how to sequence it? Which part first, which parts next, like that. And then for that, there are methods. We look at several methods, like, chronology, simple to complex, whole to part, then horizontal and vertical integration. Like that, we looked at some methods of sequencing the content of the curriculum. Then the integration, it's very important to integrate the subject matter across the other subjects in the curriculum we looked at. Then we looked at ILOs as one of the components of one of the 4 components of curriculum. ILOs, intended learning outcomes or objectives. And with regard to the intended learning outcomes, I actually told you intended learning outcomes of a curriculum are actually organized in a hierarchical order. We have the national goals to be realized through every discipline, not only through education. But education should contribute for the realization of national goals. So national educational goals are aligned with the national goals of a country. So we look at Sri Lankan national curriculum. So there are 7 educational goals or basic competence to be realized. And they are definitely aligned with the national goals, which are 8 of them, right? And then we looked at objectives. Objectives are for each and every subject. Teaching English, all the grades, they have the same objectives. For English, there are 5 objectives. And teaching mathematics, grade 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. By teaching mathematics, you have to realize the objectives of teaching mathematics. We saw that 5. As it is same with the other subjects as well. So according to your subject, that you have to know what are the objectives. Then based on the objectives, you have competencies and competency levels. They are grade wise. Now, objectives are for all the grades. Educational goals are for all the subjects, right? Objectives are for subjects. One subject, one different set of objectives. It's subject wise. But competencies and competency levels are grade wise. For each grade, there are competencies and competency levels to be developed. And further narrowed When you walk into the classroom to do a lesson, you have the specific objectives related to the three domains: cognitive, psychomotor, and affective, the 3H, head, heart, and hand කියලා කියනවා. එතකොට they are in alignment with the competency level, and the competency level and the competency levels are aligned with the objectives. Objectives are aligned with the educational goals or basic competencies. Basic competencies are aligned with the national goals. That is how it goes. So the next day when we come, we have to look at the other two components of the curriculum. That is learning experiences or methodology, and then the evaluation. They are not big discussions. Then after that, we can actually move on to another big topic. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Right. Then I want to stop. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you so much,
Ma'am,
madam.
excuse
And you
me.
have to know that psychology presentation, it is not on the 26th. I told you that I'm not available on the 26th.
Yes,
So it
madam.
will be scheduled for the first week of March, after 5th. Okay, after 5th. Right.
Madam, can I
Yeah.
ask you the question?
Yeah.
Are you going to give us each and everyone a time, or how are we going to do that?
I will ask the campus
Uh,
to actually send you the time slot. So it will be the first hour, these students. The second hour, these set of students, like that. Hourly basis,
Ma'am, do we need to upload our PowerPoint presentation to
no
LMS?
need. No need. No, I really don't want. If the campus want, you can get them to, you can do the needful. I really don't want. I want you to share the PowerPoint and then have the webcam on and then do the PowerPoint presentation. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
madam.
Okay, ma'am.
Right. Then thank you. Good night.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you,
Good night.
madam. Good night.
Thank you, madam. Good night. Good night, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Sorry. The fly connect bus no.